Hello, I am Matt Ramage.
I'm Dustin.
And this is Before the Dust Settles, a show dedicated to
Oh man,
real conversations with people trying to make change in the world, and I kind of botched it. Just real conversations with people.
I should learn it. I should.
We don't know what it is.
It's a good show though.
Yeah, it's a good show because of the good guests. So today we have Jesse Weiman and Andrea Ann from Nolita Studios. They run a successful full-service recording studio and, well, artist studio for musicians here in Saskatoon. For Saskatchewan artists, they have had some of their work win awards for Codie Prevost, and as for Album of the Year, and some nominations for music videos, and they are turning 2 this month, which is crazy. So
yeah, we talk about all things music, mostly music biz. They shed some dirt on some of the artists that they work with. Just kidding, they don't actually. They're very tight-lipped about any shenanigans that may or may not go on in the music industry. Yeah. But it was a good conversation, and I think you'll enjoy it. So have fun.
Thanks for coming. I'm really excited you guys are here. I wanted to invite you onto the show just to chat about you guys and Nolita Studios and sort of this unique world that I didn't know about, let's say, with music and producing and making it even your business model. And actually, maybe we could get it right into that. You were very curious about that too. And like, I know just like a little bit about your model, but what do you guys do? Like, who's your ideal client?
What we generally work with artists developing their artistry. So we work with a lot of like musician artists that'll come into us and we help develop their artistry. We'll look at what they're going to sound like, what they're going to look like. We're also going to look at like their branding and how they look on internet and social media. We also help fill a lot of gaps for people. Like we help educate people a lot on how to actually push their music to radio and what to do with their music videos. Because we're starting to work with a lot of kids now, and we're getting a lot of parent clients. So our job is
like a parent who has like a child they like love and believe in, and
we call them the momagers or the fathers. Yeah, the dad or mom.
So instead of soccer moms, we're into.
Yeah, no, it's exactly what it is. So we help them figure out the music industry and what to do so they can get going down the proper lanes. Because when you jump into the music industry, it's like an incredibly confusing world with no answers. Like when you first, I remember when I was younger, when I first started getting the music, when I was 16, 17, like it just, especially back in the early 2000s, there was just no information out there. So there was just so much you have to just go and find it and talk to people. And it's still pretty similar to that. Like there's definitely learning resources out for it now, which is great, but it's still a very tough area for people to figure out.
So do you compete with online services that do something similar to what you do, or is this still sort of like a very traditional sort of industry? And what is it exactly? This is music, you're a music producer, or you guys are...
I'm a music producer, and Andrea is a video and photographer director. Like she'll do photos and videos and do music videos for artists. So no, we don't compete too much with online work too much because the work we get is very central around our location. So we get people from all over Saskatchewan. One day I'm hoping that my producing can be more online, because that is something a lot of producers are doing out there. Is they'll like, I have a guy named Jordan, and he runs in Montreal, and he'll work with people over Canada through the internet. And a lot of the work I do too, like, so when you're working on a song, when an artist comes to me with a song, you'll have musicians on that song. So just say I need to hire like a banjo player that I don't play. I'll usually hire someone like a Calgary or Vancouver or wherever I want, and they'll actually record their parts at their studio, like their recording studio at home, and usually send me like a Dropbox link with the WAV files to me to actually put into my Pro Tools and help produce the song, like just an instrument from like a world-class Canadian musician.
So is that pretty normal for like an artist to have their own booth? Or would these guys go to a person like you in their own town?
It depends on the musician's skill level and how busy they are. It definitely is either or. The guy I work with in Calgary, I know he does it at home because he has a booth, so he'll just do it downstairs. But there's also some backup singers that I've worked with or other musicians that they'll actually go into a studio and work with someone like me to record those parts. Just really depends on their skill sets. Like if they're just a musician and don't know how to record, they're going to need help with the recording parts. Where if they're a musician that has skills in the recording area, they can kind of do both at the same time.
Cool. And so Nolita Studios is turning 2? When?
May 28th.
So soon.
It's very soon.
Congrats.
Thank you very much. We're excited.
And so Andrea works with me on my team, but I would like to have her work more, but she can barely give me a day a week, which is great because, and I brag about, like in front of my clients, like I tell people, like I kind of joke about it, but like obviously you guys are doing, like in 2 years, like you guys are really keeping busy. Tell me about the growth. Like tell us about, like, is it unexpected? Is it surpassing?
I'm even kind of surprised that there's much of a market for this in Saskatchewan, just it being such a small center. Like almost before that, even like how many competitors do you have in town or in Saskatchewan? I guess
That's a good question.
I can answer this. Okay, so Saskatchewan, we're a very farm-based community, so a lot of the music here that we get to work from is country music. So there's actually quite a big, thriving country scene in Saskatchewan, and they call themselves the Saskatchewan Country Music Association, or the SCMAs. So that's where a lot of the work comes from. So yeah, there's a lot of serious country artists out there that we get a lot of work from. There's also
so that's government funded or like
no, a lot of
provincially funded.
There is government funding, like SAS Music upstairs.
Yeah.
So people can get grants from that. And there's also another. It's more of a nationwide one, but it's called Factor. So that's where more established artists will go and get funding for music videos and to do recording.
But the Saskatchewan Country Music Association, who runs
like
that?
member.
It's a volunteer-based association.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So like basically everyone from the community just volunteers their time.
Nice. So it's a pretty, I assume it's a pretty like thriving community. Like there's a lot of back and forth.
Yeah.
There is a lot, and there's I can't remember exactly the number, how many chapters there are, but there's chapters throughout Saskatchewan. So there's one in Saskatoon, one in Prince Albert, one in Regina. There's other ones I just can't remember off the top of my head.
Saskatoon's the biggest one, I would assume.
I think
it's
so.
up there
It's
with
between
Prince
that and Regina
Albert.
and Prince Albert. They're all pretty big.
After those three, like, is it some like sleeper town like Shaunavon, Saskatchewan or something that has?
It's not too bad because they'll start going. It'll be different towns, but I know it's like the rural area around that town, so they do get a lot of people that way. Like actually, a lot of our clients are
From Prince Albert.
they're from Prince Albert, but they're also from the rural area. Like a lot of small towns we get a lot of work from, so it's everywhere. Yeah, no, I used to work with metal bands back 10 years ago when I first started, more screamo music and more the rock scene. And now that I've shifted into country, it's been really refreshing because there is quite actually a business model around for everything. And what's great about country music is that they actually have an award show every year. So a lot of these professional artists that we work with, they can actually get up for like album of the year and single of the year and vocals
And
of the
brag a
year.
little bit. You guys just had the awards.
Yeah, so an artist that I worked with named Codie Prevost, he won Album of the Year this year for a record I produced. So it's great to have that kind of infrastructure so accomplished things like that can be recognized.
So is that good for you as like a producer to have that on your
Oh man,
portfolio?
that's great.
Yeah, it provides a lot of credibility for our
It
business.
does. It's definitely.
It really does.
I can definitely see like the growth coming from it already. It's,
And then you did music video. So he won Album of the Year?
He won Album of the Year. 2 of my music videos were nominated. Fortunately, I didn't win, but the title was given to the Hunter brothers, and they're just like booming this year, so it was expected. But yeah, it was just like really interesting because like I only started doing music videos since February of last year, and already like 2 of my music videos like got nominated. It was insane.
Good for you.
Thank you.
So like, how do you learn that? How do you pick that up so quickly?
YouTube.
Yeah?
Like actually, I'm totally self-taught. No one taught me really how to like do music videos except one person. His name is Dilly Bat. So shout out to him.
Deadly who?
Dilly Bat.
Oh, I thought you said Deadly Bat.
No, Dilly Bat. He taught me like a little bit of like just like how to make like shots interesting and stuff like that. But in terms of like learning how to like properly edit and like do all of like the nitty gritty stuff, I really had to like sit down and put in endless hours into watching YouTube tutorials. So.
So where, like, as far as like your style for creating music videos or even the creative direction, is that you, or is that you guys as a team, or how's that
Yeah,
work?
so like basically what I do is that my approach to making music videos is that I love including the artist with the concept of like making the music video, because I find that oftentimes videographers here, they're very like, it has to be my concept if you want to work with me. Whereas like I'm very like collaborative. Like I really love working with the artists because it's their music video too. So like I'll sit down and print out their lyrics, and it's usually like a 3-hour meeting with them. So like we'll go through their lyrics like line by line, and we'll just like plan out the whole music video so that when I deliver the music video, like there's no discrepancies, or like they're just like not confused as to like what the final deliverable is. So that's kind of like my approach. And then
Do you even have it like measure by measure? Like not just the lyrics, but like, you know, the intros
so
four measures, and then like, so you know exactly like the timing of the breaks and
We
bridges.
go pretty close. It's usually by lyrics, or we'll have an intro. It's like 10 seconds long.
Yeah.
This.
And
You
like
do
I
by
always
like
write
a
it.
time, not
Yeah.
okay.
You know,
okay.
have guy walk down street, you know,
Yeah.
guy smiles at girl, and then that'll be in that chunk kind of thing. So it's like, it's planned out, but there's a little interpretation we can have when we're actually on the shoot, which is nice.
Mm-hmm.
And what's also really good about it that I quite enjoy is that we can plan out an itinerary after all this, so we can actually, like when we do shoots, we have it down to like the minute when we're doing everything.
Mm-hmm.
So it really leads to a very smooth process where we don't run into a lot of
Because I assume you have to
hiccups and-
shoot things out of order.
Yes, we do. Yeah, we never shoot things in a linear sense, like at all. It's always out of order.
It's too hard to do it because there's just so many variables with a music video shoot. Like, what time can we be at this location, and what time can, if we have a crowd shot, what time can these people show up at? And
Right.
there's a lot of logistics with it, or like even, well, where's the sun in the sky at this point? What kind of scene is it? So, yeah, there's definitely we think about the whole scope
Just
of
like the whole
everything,
picture,
line,
basically.
the matrix of it, or whatever you would call it.
So this is one facet of the business. Like you're sort of suggesting that you're helping with everything, not just like the actual content, but sort of the strategy, the branding, the positioning, like you said, like how you get it onto the radio or how you get distribution.
Or how to put it on Spotify.
Yeah, so we help
But-
people find those learning resources, or we'll provide it for them. Just because I've been in the industry so long that I just have a good sense of it all.
Are you finding that like people are encroaching on different like smaller areas of your business? Like
Absolutely.
you know, certain things that
Yeah, like
which areas are those?
that's a good question.
Like, is it music? Like, I would assume that there's more videographers that are just like, yeah, I'll do a music video. I've never done one, but I'll do one.
Yeah.
Or just like maybe different areas like that, where even like maybe online, somebody sees talent on YouTube and it's like reaches out. Like, I've never managed an artist before, but I want to manage you. I listened to a podcast that had. He's a white rapper. He's really well established. I forget his name, but anyways, like his manager was like a business school grad that was just like, I love your music, and I think that you're going to be a superstar. And they went into business together, and they turned down $1 million record deal, and ended up doing really well, like as an independent, but. I know that like obviously that isn't common, but yeah, again, like just I assume that there's more and more areas where people that have no business or no traditional business being in your industry are now starting to be like, yeah, no, I can help, or I'd like to.
You know what? We don't run into it a ton. Like in our province that we're in right now, we have a good position because there are competitors, but we have guys, like there is a guy that is definitely my senior, which is great because he's made the price of everything quite high in country, which has been nice. So we're kind of like in a different lane where we do
I think that we're just like really in a niche market here. Like we provide like a full service for an artist. Like they can come into our studio and record a song and then get all the visuals done in one spot. Whereas like a lot of music producers, like they just offer music production and that's it. And then they have to and then the artist has to basically just like find their own way to like get their visuals done. Whereas like we're just like a one-stop shop, and like people can just like get everything done in one place.
All right, so like just help me with context here. So
Sure.
like I know the Hunter brothers. When I was young, I was out at the farm and I fell off of a dirt bike and hurt myself. And anyways, but I know the family. And let's say another couple kids from a well-to-do farm family like, you know what, we're going to help our kids out. We want to help them try and pursue their passion, their career. What would sort of the spectrum of, like, obviously you've told me a lot about the different services that you guys offer, but what would you say, like an entry-level price point, like right up to, we're working with these people quite regularly, we're helping them from, you know, like not only just producing music and videos, but we're also helping them with like strategically, like how they're developing as artists. What are the price ranges here?
Okay, so
He knows
like
a lot about this.
usually the first thing we have to do too before we establish a price range is I need to sit down with the artists and see what type of artist they are. Like, are they a country big band artist? Are they an acoustic kind of folk artist? Are they wanting to go more the cover route? Because you have to see it on the internet, a lot of people do the cover route where they'll make like a cover YouTube channel. So first we have to establish what their needs are. And then generally, actually, it's pretty simple how we do our rates. We have our song by the song rate that I go by, and we have our music video rates. So we just usually just figure out how many songs they want to do and what kind of plan they want to do. And then we'll just add those numbers up and send it to them.
Okay, so it's just piece by piece, basically.
Piece by piece, yeah. And also too, like, big thing we always push on clients all the time is we're always about campaigns, like planning ahead and planning a campaign with the release. So we'll give you an example. We're working with a younger artist named Taylor Sky Hanley. She's younger, she's actually just 11. So a really talented girl. She's acted on YouTube TV series, and she's starting her acting and music career. So when we work with her, we brought up the idea of doing a campaign with her, where what she's doing is she's doing 3 acoustic covers and a single and a music video. And what we're doing with those 3 acoustic covers that are recorded and filmed, and the single, we're using it in a campaign where we believe that releasing things once a month and once every 2 months is the way to build the momentum in the music industry and show that you're serious. So we'll say, like, I'm just pulling these out of my head right now, but like just say July we release cover song number 1, and then August we release cover song number 2, September we release the 3rd one, and then October, that's when we built up the momentum to release her original radio song that'll be released to radio. So yeah, like that's just another thing we help with people too, is figure out how to actually release these things properly so they can best sell them.
So what's the most important medium these days? You've mentioned radio a couple times. I assume different genres blend well to different mediums.
Yeah, like again, it's genre dependent. Like jazz to country, there's a different selling aspect to it. But we'll go to country right now just because we've been on that one. Radio is a really good route to go. I kind of have mixed feelings about it, but I definitely think there's 2 ways to go with it, and both ways are good to go. Radio is great because it develops that when you do radio, you're going to hire a radio tracker, and that's a person that you hire to actually pitch your song to radio stations. They're the professional with the connections and the relationships.
Does that exist in Saskatchewan?
Yeah, you hire people out of Toronto for it, but the serious artists here, most of them do it. They hire these people to push their single. Single. Sorry. So you use this person, and they'll push it to radios. And then when you get picked up at these stations, either in Canada or the US, you get paid royalties from it. So what's good about people putting their songs in radios, they can actually get paychecks from it to help them grow their art. And also too, with radio, it's just something people respect. When people hear that you have charted on a radio station, it shows that people are taking you serious. And it's just for like when you want to try to get labels down the road, or if you want to book bigger shows, having that on your resume helps. And then the other route artists can do is doing the online route. There's 2 main things you can do with that. You can go the music video route, where you use your visuals online with promoting with Facebook ads to get your song in front of your crowd. Because what's nice about online that you guys probably know as well is that, just say you're a country artist like Taylor that's 11 years old, right away you're going to know that you're going to probably appeal to other 10-year-old girls that range. So with Facebook, you can target that to be pushing and advertising that music video to that demographic. So that's why
you actually push to like ages that low?
I don't know if you can. honestly, the 11-year-old thing is pretty new to me. So,
okay.
But
I think 13 is minimum.
I think 13. Okay. You could be right. But yeah, so I really like that route. Another route I know a lot of guys I work with that do well is they'll do like Spotify and try to get on playlists. Like that's a great way to get your song heard and seen.
Like get Taylor Swift to pick your song for a playlist.
Well, there was a band called Embargo that happened to last year.
Yeah.
So
they have paid these pushers. Would you call it, the trackers?
Trackers are for radio.
So
Spotify is different.
Is there a digital tracker you can have?
You can get promotion companies and stuff like that, but A lot of time with
Like,
that
you think
stuff,
It's Taylor Swift's best friend who just has playlists that she likes.
Like, do you think actually like Taylor Swift picked any of that playlist?
it's possible.
Maybe.
I doubt
Like,
it.
who knows?
I doubt it, but those are the kind of things that are great to people can get a lot of success and get recognized, and their music out there is through Spotify. Spotify doesn't pay great. I think you only get paid like 0.00001% per play.
Because of streaming.
You have to like do millions before you even see like a grand.
1,000 plays is a penny.
Yeah. It's a lot of zeros.
Yeah.
It's like a lot of zeros before you actually see anything.
So the guys with 36,000 have made $3,600.
I think those guys that you see that have 1 billion plays probably see something,
Yeah.
you know, maybe for $6 but no, streaming is definitely the way of the future though. It's definitely where music's going and will be for a while.
So where's the money? Where's the money in music these days?
Live shows.
Royalties and live shows.
Royalties and shows.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
mostly
royalties
live shows would be where you're going to sustain a living. Is when you get to a certain level, you can get paid quite well to play shows. And it's also a consistent thing you can tour for, and you can go across Canada, or you can go to the US or Australia. Interesting fact about the country scene here, a lot of the guys, like the top ones, they do a lot of touring on Australia. So what a lot of musicians do around here is they, using analytics and the internet, they can start discovering different countries that pick up their music. So like, I know Codie's had a lot of success in Australia. I know Amy Nelson has. Like a lot of these people actually have a fan base where they can go tour in Australia.
And do they find it exotic? Because like,
For sure.
they're real cowboys from. I mean, Australia has real cowboys too, but they're just.
I think
Outback
there's
theory.
something going on there. Like
Yeah?
it's interesting. Yeah.
Keith Urban, isn't he from Australia? And we
I
love
think
him
so.
here.
I think they just love Canadian country music. Like anytime I hear
Maybe
these
it's
things,
the
it'll-
fantasy and the lyrics, the fantasy of what a farmer would be, and the lyrics are like, it's actually true there or something.
That's you look so confused.
I know.
What?
But yeah, no, it's interesting to see like how many people can get around doing these things to different countries and turn a profit off playing shows. But yeah, like your question, the main source of revenue for any artist is their shows. That's where, even to big to small, that's where they make all their money.
It's like even I saw Michael Bublé a couple of weeks ago here.
He's paying the bills.
Even that for him, the touring is the cash.
Yeah,
For a
for
guy
anyone,
like
that's where people make the money. They still make money off royalties, but again, too, like you got to consider like if the artist you're listening to, do they actually write their songs?
Right. So
That's
the
the thing.
songwriters also make a ton of money.
Yes.
The songwriters and the producers are generally the ones that rack it with those things.
So yeah, give me the breakdown of that 0.0000001 dollars that people
So
are making.
for me, that's $0.00001. With where I stand now, if I produce you, I'm going to make, after you recoup your costs of what you spent on your production, I'll make 25%. off
You'll make
that.
20. The
Of
producer will make 25%.
0.00001. That's on top of like what I charge a song.
Give me the breakdown here. So a producer will make 25%. The writer will make what? 50%.
It's different. I'm talking more like the mechanical route, like royalties, where that's like the actual sale. The songwriter they make the money off when it's played on the radio, or if it's in TV shows, like the use of the song.
Okay.
Or if like another artist picks up the song down the road.
So, but okay. So that we have a writer, we have an artist,
Yeah.
and a producer, and they're all going to get paid when that song gets played.
Artist. Okay, one more time. You have the artist, writer, and producer.
Yeah, and then the label maybe, or is that the producer?
No, the label will take everything after that. But
So
yeah.
like, what's the breakdown? Like, I'm just curious. Like,
I don't know
who
if I can
gets
give you
paid
like
in music?
exact. I didn't need my music book, but okay. So
The pie in the
like
sky.
songwriter, if you're the sole songwriter of the song,
Yeah.
you get it all. You do, So like if you just say I wrote a song and I used it, or Matt Ramage was like, I want to use that song, and he puts it on the radio and Matt has his first hit, I would get all the royalties on that song.
Okay, so you're going to get rich. Matt's going to get famous.
Matt's going to get famous.
Great.
And he'll make money off shows and stuff like that. And though his label will probably take 95% of everything. So it's like, there's horror stories with labels. We'll get into that later. But but usually like what I tend to do with artists when I write a song with them, usually it's a co-write where I'll sit down with like 3 guys like this, and we'll write a song in 2 hours, and it'll be a 3-way split that way. Like how I like to work, if I sit down with people and we write a song right now, we're splitting it equally, regardless of what helps with what. I find it just helps everything run smoother, and then you don't have to worry about it. What I like to do, I don't think a lot of people do this in common practice, but just say Matt Ramage, the artist, is like, I want that song called Matt Days. I would usually give him a bit of the cut like a 10 to 20% cut of the song just so they're invested in it as well. I just think it's a good taste thing just to support the artist you're working with and make sure they get paid a bit on it. And also, I believe it'll help them push the song harder because they're invested in it as well.
I listened to an awesome interview with Billy Corgan from the Smashing Pumpkins, and he's talking about when, he had met with whatever his label, or he met with somebody, one of his business people, and they told him like, we have to have a conversation about writing credits with the music. Who, like, how are the songs written? He's like, well, I write the songs. He's like, well, I think you should consider putting on paper that you guys all write the songs. Otherwise, you're going to end up becoming super wealthy here, and everybody else is going to be like just regular people. It's like, nah, I write the songs. So then, he all of a sudden he's partying with Dennis Rodman and
no
being
one
a rock
else
star.
in the band is?
And they're like, they get to go to huge rock shows and they get to play awesome venues and stuff like that. But he's the only one that got rich.
And that's like every band's different that way. Like some people, the singer just takes it all. Some people split it equally throughout the band, regardless of who does what. It's the mistake that some people make too. Like what I'm hearing here is that it's something you should always discuss before you get to the actual like next level, because it can cause some serious problems. Like it's good that it worked out.
I assume a lot of friendships fail in these when the money comes in.
Yeah.
Well, it didn't really work out for the Smashing Pumpkins. Like that band hates each other. Like the Red Hot Chili Peppers, the Smashing Pumpkins still play, but the original members of that band don't play together. It's just Billy Corgan in a new band.
Oh,
exactly. So I mean, like, of course, if you're the singer, and obviously he's going to make lots of money from it, and that's great, he gets the money. But it's like when you do that, obviously it tears up relationships when you don't agree on that stuff ahead of time. And I like to avoid that as much as possible. Yeah. No, usually if I'm at a songwriting session, I'll bring it up right away. Like, this is a 3-way, 2-way split. Soon I'm going to be getting everyone to sign things so it's done, and then.
Yeah, so that's part of the services that you'll provide. You'll actually help write up some legal paperwork for your artists so that they can figure out what this is going to look like, what the pie's going to look like.
We'll point them in the direction of where to go to get that done. Yeah, I wouldn't say we do it. Like, a lot of it too is like we point people in the direction. I'd say that's what we do. Like,
we have contracts and songwriting agreements, if that's what you mean.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I misheard. I thought you meant like where we would take someone to get, like, would we do that for them kind of thing.
Well, you said because you write 3-way, but it's 3 people's song, but then they're the artist carrying the torch, let's say.
Okay, so we have a songwriting agreement where it says everything that they are required to do and legally tied to, technically.
So you have thousands or tens of hundreds or tens of tens or ones of tens of these agreements so far.
We have tons of agreements.
Like in the past, dedicated to agreements.
Like, actually.
No, it's not. Okay. It's lying.
But like a lot. Like it's getting to the point where I'm having trouble keeping track of everything.
Yeah, no, we're definitely busy to the point where we've been struggling to keep track of, like, we're doing it, but it's definitely a lot of sitting down on a computer and organizing stuff.
Yeah.
Thank God we have Andrea. So.
You're welcome. I'm just kidding.
Sweet. Well, you spent a lot of time even reading like the like biographies on guys like what's the guy, Red Hot Chili Peppers? Did you read his?
Yeah.
He did so many drugs, that guy. That's all I remember from his doc. He was just like did you read his book?
Yep.
Yeah, his book was crazy. Like, those guys, I don't know how those guys are alive.
He had one really like insane story about, like, just to like put into perspective like how addicted he was. He was on like a multi-day binge, shacked up in some hotel in LA, like downtown LA, and ran out of drugs one night, hot and bothered. He just finished going on like a large tour where they were opening for the Rolling Stones. And Keith Richards had signed the guitar that he'd been using for most of the tour. And I could be I could be mixing up some of the details here, but signs the guitar, gives it to him. And he ended up trading that guitar at like 3:30 or 4 o'clock in the morning for like what he knew wouldn't even be enough heroin to get him high. But he just he needed to shoot up. And so he traded this guitar to some guy that like had no idea who the Rolling Stones was, didn't care. Like the value that he got in drugs was purely based on what this guy thought that he could get a raggedy old guitar at a pawn shop for, sort of thing. And it's just like, it's tragic, and it's just really interesting to me to hear somebody that's lived such an extraordinary life to be given something that like most like 60, 70, even me, but most like middle-aged balding white men would like, you know, like pay $100,000 for. And this guy just gave this thing away.
Has it ever like resurfaced?
I don't know.
Like it must exist.
Sure.
In
He did
some
lots of stuff like that though. Like he liked his black tar heroin. That's what he was into. Like, that's what I mean. Like his book was intense. I remember reading and being like, wow. I always think when I read those guys' book, like them or Motley Crue or Tommy Lee, those guys, like it's just unreal what they did to themselves, and they're still like standing.
Do you have any good, or like you don't have to give any names or anything like that, but have you
Codie
heard of any?
Prevost, what's his drug? No, I'm kidding.
Have you heard of any good like stories of artists coming through town and destroying the Sheraton penthouse suite? Or you don't have to give any names,
No.
but does that stuff happen here or not really?
Like the after parties at the CM.
Nobody watches this anyways. Like seriously, like
This will be the
Well, we
thing.
were gonna post it, but not now.
5 years down the road, it'll be.
I can't tell the stories because I'm involved in them. So. No, when you're like, again, like we're in the country scene now, so a lot of these guys are pretty tame. My hip hop clients I had, not so much, but yeah, like they're like Codie, like he goes home to his kids at night and he raises a family and he's a good old farm boy at home.
He's got a good head on his
He's got a good
shoulders.
head. Like Codie's just, like that's the thing. Like what I've noticed in my career doing music, the artists that are successful are not generally the ones that are the best. They're the ones that are the best business people. Those are always the ones that go further all the time. Like, and
Let's talk about that for a bit. Like compared to, like, I mean, in photography, like the barrier to entry is just like lower than ever. Like a laptop and a couple grand can get you a good camera that you could literally go make money with. Let's talk about like the music industry with like Spotify and the internet and getting music heard and YouTube. Like what's changed? Is it like harder to get rich, or easier to get rich, or easier to make a steady living but harder to get rich? Or I don't know.
I think it's easier now, honestly, way easier than it used to be. Back, let's say, and then like when I started in the late 90s, 2000, when there wasn't all the internet stuff to get your music out there. Like it was very basic back then. Like you could have like a website if you wanted to, as far as it went. Where if you wanted to get signed to a label, or if you wanted to make any real difference, you always had to go through gatekeepers, like labels, CEOs, or even shows. Like you could book them, but you'd have to make like phone calls all the time, and there'd be gatekeepers. Where now with the internet, artists have the power to do these things themselves. Like you can figure out how to record your own music now. It's totally learnable. You go on YouTube. Just again, like I was the same way. I learned by YouTube and just doing it myself. I didn't go to school. And same with music videos. You can learn this stuff. So the big reason why I'm going to go back to that, I don't think the talented artists always go all the way and the business ones do. Because the business people, I find, have the hustle to figure this out. So when a roadblock comes their way, like, oh, I can't do this, they'll figure it out, and they have the hustle to get it. They'll either find the money or learn the skill themselves, or it's just like how you guys are with entrepreneurship. I'm sure you're the same way. When something comes up, you figure it out, and you get on it. So
plan B.
yeah, you got to figure out how to get past that thing. So that's what I've noticed is you can have an artist that has all the talent in the world, but if they have a crappy attitude and they don't know how to like time manage and focus themselves and get themselves to actually go to shows and practice and do all the things that need to be done, like it doesn't matter how good you are, you're not going anywhere. Where if you have the guy that is an okay singer, but he's on it all the time, like he knows how to manage his time, he knows how to find funding to get his projects done, he has an education where he can do grants. So that's a big thing too. If you don't have, grants are complicated, like you need a degree to really write those things properly. You need to know someone that can help you do it. So yeah, like it's just, I'm all about the people that hustle all the time. Like I love seeing that in artists or an entrepreneur, anyone, like just someone that's willing to work 12, 15 hours a day and they just don't take no.
So how much is like secret sauce and how much is like the hustle? Or maybe a question would be like, could I become an artist if I put the same effort in as photography, let's say? Like,
I think if you developed a lane that you could find with a demographic that was into what you were doing and you cultivated that, I think you could become something. I'm not saying you're going to be big and famous and like making millions, but I'm sure if you made the Matt Ravage
I'm going to open
experience,
for Taylor Swift's going to open for me. Just kidding.
when you find the Matt Ravage experience, you could totally have Taylor open for
I hit a
you.
breakthrough. I put Taylor Swift on one of my Spotify playlists. So,
Yeah, just be pretentious.
no, you're supposed to go on her playlist.
So let's say like what would a teacher make? A teacher would make like 80 grand after about a decade or so.
Yeah, that's a pretty baller teacher.
I think that's a
I
regular.
think that's
what they make,
standard.
yeah.
I think it's a regular teacher.
It's just like a normal.
They just
teacher.
they just tell everybody it's not enough. But
I'm not getting into this. My whole family's
His
teacher.
whole family's teacher.
my mom's a teacher.
Like,
It's okay. Like I said, let's say I wanted to make that kind of money without just a little bit of secret sauce.
Like 40, 50K possibly. 80, I wonder, would take a long
Is that
time.
is that kind of like you need more than just grants? You need actual paid gigs.
Yeah.
Like I feel like
Does anybody actually make 80, or do people make like 15, 20, or they make 150? Or
is there?
It's
yeah.
all over the map. It's the same as any entrepreneurship thing. Like it's just like some people do 30, 20, 10 to 50 to 100 to 200K.
Do some people just want to cover some cost of like they're a gear addict and they want to buy a new guitar every 6 months and then
Yeah, that's another route people go. You know, like it's just depend on the person. That's why like when we meet with clients all the time, we always ask like, are you a hobbyist? Are you going for a professional?
Yeah.
Just because it's a completely different game when you're a professional to a hobbyist.
Interesting. I was just at a wedding on New Year's Eve, and they had this band. This was in Lloydminster, and they did really good. They did all covers, which was great. But I'm just like, you know, some people just photograph weddings for like the fun part of it, or sorry, some side cash, let's say. And then I was like thinking of these guys, like they had a pretty big setup with their lights and equipment. Like it outdid most churches, we'll put it that way. And it's like, you know, would these guys be making lots of money or just?
A lot of guys, it's a good side hustle.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say it's a good side. It's a hobby. They're doing it for fun. You know, like it's something to go and have a couple beers and hang with their buddies and play some fun shows. And
So would those kind of people ever work with you guys, or is that just like they're their own, they just do that thing? They're never working
we get
with
a lot of
albums or
hobbyists
videos?
too.
yeah, we have a lot of hobbies.
We get both. Like we're with professionals or hobbyists or, yeah. That's why there's kind of like a different approach of going to them all the time. Like if I have a hobbyist, I'm not going to send them my thick contract with all the agreement stuff. And like, I more know like they're coming in to just have the experience of being recorded and to have a song of their own. Whereas like if, you know, you get a Codie coming in, it's a different ballgame entirely. Like, you know, he's probably going to sell quite a bit of those songs and they're going to be on the radio everywhere. And
So you're like, hey, Codie, like that song's really good, but you need to change these lyrics, but I also get 25%.
yeah, Codie, we need to rewrite this song. Yeah.
It's like an investment banker. We need to transfer your money here. Yeah. Why? Because I make money when I transfer money here.
yeah, the act of moving it makes me rich.
Yeah.
I'm just teasing if Codie watches this. I know
Sorry,
these are good
Hi,
people.
Codie. We're talking
I'm
about
not
you.
trying to throw you under the bus.
Okay, well let's talk about your business again. Like so, turning to the industry. There's this like I think from our perspective, like just like there's this whole like industry that I don't see. I'm not aware of. Like I mean, I've seen it the most lately because I see your Facebook feeds because we're friends on Facebook, and I see like you're at the awards. I didn't even like when the Junos happened here. I'm like.
Did they?
Oh,
actually
they happened
happen?
here yesterday. I didn't even realize it. Oh, Nelly Furtado. I think it was Nelly Furtado was here, and I was like, "Oh, so that was yesterday. This is years ago."
Oh, that was a long time ago. That's
But let's say where you are right now. Are you guys where you wanted to be? Are you guys in a totally different place? Have you stumbled into something that you've kind of found success in?
this is all you.
Me? Okay. Well, I think that we have grown exponentially, like way faster than I thought. Because when I first started Nolita Studios, like I just started out doing just photography. And then like what happened was that a bunch of musicians kept asking me to photograph them just like over and over and over. And then what happened was that I ended up recommending them to Jesse, because at the time we were actually sole proprietors and we didn't work together before. And then after a while, we just kept like forwarding each other work and like referring work to each other. And then we ended up just becoming partners. And when we became partners, like the business just like boomed. It was kind of crazy. Like it just happened all of a sudden. And then we just had to keep thinking about like, okay, like we're getting more serious now. Like we have to hire an accountant, we have to hire a bookkeeper, we have to hire a lawyer. Like it just like kept growing and growing and growing. Like, and we're still growing, which is kind of crazy.
Does that suck any of the fun out of it, becoming more formal and sort of like having the processes?
Totally does.
Like-
It's definitely going to take me some time to get used to it.
Yeah.
I definitely I was definitely a lot more relaxed with it in the past, where now it's just, I think what it is when you get to a point where you're just so busy that you just have no choice, or you're not going to have a life. Yeah. So that's the biggest thing I found in the last year for me that's been challenging. It's just like we're so busy that I've been having trouble having like an outside life. So that's why I'm saying like I can't be as loose as I used to be. I have to have boundaries, and I have to, just because there's so many questions that come up and things we have to do. And yeah, so that's definitely has been the challenge. But yeah, no, we've grown a lot in the last year. It's really crazy to look back and just.
But part of it is because I was able to work with you.
Well, tell me more about that.
Yeah, tell us more about that.
Oh gosh, well, it's just because like you helped me with our business, like totally. Anytime I have any business questions, I always ask you. Yeah.
So actually, I thought you were joking.
No, I'm not even kidding. Like seriously, I think that's part of the reason why we grow.
I think the big part of we grow is we're very lucky and we're surrounded by really smart, talented people. Like you're one of the people we get to work with that really helps our business grow. And we have a lot of, like even the SCMAs, we're just very fortunate to have so many people that help us through this, because it's just always a learning curve.
Yeah, like this is my first business that I've ever
Yeah,
done,
this
so
is
I just
like-
want to make sure that I'm doing it right. And
Yeah,
there's
it's
a lot
just
of
like-
questions that are like unanswered because we're in the music business.
And we just really want to, we've kind of fell into this lane of artist development where we're seeing a need out there with parents and families and starting artists that we really want to fill that need well. So it's not even just doing a great product, we want to have a great service around it and also try to make things as easy as possible for people. That's even why we've started doing video blogs, because we're getting so many questions from people all the time, because we have the answers for them, that we're starting to do video blogs so we can answer some of these questions faster. That's really where we might most definitely be doing consulting down the road, because we just get so many people asking about the music industry. It's definitely, we have a good understanding of it. I definitely have just been around it enough and read enough books on it that it's definitely a need that people need. They need to know what to do business-wise and where to put their direction. Because this is a big can of worms I'm talking about right here that I won't go super into. The music industry has drastically changed in the last 10 years. So that's also what's confusing for people too, when you get someone that's my age coming in their 30s or 40s.
You sort of lived it.
They lived the old music industry, where it was a very different game than the new industry. Now, the old industry was you would hustle on the street and go to play shows and do it that route, where now you're doing the social media game. Like you have to. If you are an artist now as a musician, you have to be more than just a musician and an artist. Like you can't be that person that's like, oh, I'm too cool for social media. Like you're not going anywhere unless you are putting yourself out there. So that's hard. That's serious belief changes you have to put in people's heads to.
I even noticed like touring artists, like even what's his name? I don't go to a lot of concerts. I got some free tickets to Michael Bublé, so that's why I went. So don't judge. He's great. He's an entertainer.
Who's this?
Michael Bublé.
Oh, he's great.
Fabulous.
So he had like Instagrammed around the city that day, and it's like, I bet he doesn't want to, but I bet his publicist tells him.
Yeah.
When Kevin Hart came here, he did it like really good. Like he like was running on the river and making funny content all day. Was he here like 2 nights or something?
I'm not sure.
I don't know. Anyway.
But again, like it's even for us as business owners, like it's an absolute must now to do that stuff. Like even as a company, like we get so much work from just doing Instagram posts and putting stuff on Facebook. So it's just helping people understand that as well. Because there is just like, when you start learning about the music industry, there is just so much information out there. So it's hard to like kind of hone in what you should be doing for certain genres. Because even that changes too, like genre to genre. It's a different ballgame there too.
So let's talk about, you guys were talking about like how some of the fun gets sucked out of it just once you become a little bit busier and you have to actually do it professionally, and obviously your overhead goes up as soon as you hire an accountant or a bookkeeper, and as soon as you start consulting with a lawyer on some of your contracts and things like that. Matt and I are both big fans on routine and like sort of like creating a structure for yourself. I'm just curious if that's something that you guys do, and if you do, like, what does your routine look like?
Ooh, routine. That's a good question.
I am more of a routine guy, I think. I definitely, it's taken me years to figure it out. I'm still working at it. It's definitely a learning curve for me because I didn't even know something like this existed till like 2-3 years ago. But usually I like to go work out in the morning right away. I find by 2 things I always look at right away. It's like make your bed. So you have that win right off the get-go. And then when you go to the gym, I find that just gives me that big check of like, I accomplished something today. So I do that right away.
Are you like strict every day you make your bed right off the bat? Or
at least 5 minutes, in 5 minutes. And then there's sometimes I don't. Like I'm definitely not super.
I'll give you full credit for it, even if you don't do it.
Well, just say, just for your mad viewers, your mad followers out there, that every day. I try to. And then gym after that. And then after that, we'll be doing admin for a lot of hours. And then I'll make it to the studio. And usually I do about 2 sessions a day. It'll either be a songwriting session or a vocal session with someone or pre-production, or I'll have a day where I'll just have to go in the studio and just session play on stuff. So that's what that means is I'll be playing instruments on songs. So like the guitar, piano, bass.
This is for some of your clients even?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. So when I'm working on any of my clients' songs, I'm usually playing most of the instruments on it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so then I'll do that and then we'll get home and talk, probably, if we can chill. It's usually watching tutorials or courses or...
I'm always learning. This brain does not shut off. Like,
Andrea
ever.
doesn't shut off ever. I can shut off, but Andrea doesn't shut off.
Is it always free, like free resources, or do you subscribe to any like paid like learning portals or anything like that?
Most of it, I would say 80% is YouTube. And then there is this one course, like this wedding filming course that I purchased, and it has made great changes to our business. Like I've learned how to like put make proper pricing sheets, how to like just even film weddings properly, and like because like when I first started filming weddings, like I had no idea what the hell I was doing. I'm just gonna say that right now. But like ever since I purchased that course, I felt a lot more confident. Just like there's this one thing in the course where there's this one app where you can have like a checklist of like the shots that you need to get, and I feel like it has helped like just even the music video stuff of ours like way easier, just because like having that checklist, like it helps. Because like before, like when I did music videos, like I didn't plan ahead of time, and then I was like, okay, I feel like I wasted a lot of time. And then ever since I watched that wedding filming course, it really just like helped us like implement that into our system of like creating like concepts and stuff like that. So I would say that was the only thing that I actually like purchased in terms of like a course.
Cool.
I purchase a lot more stuff. Like I like to buy audiobooks quite a bit. I like books as well. I like audiobooks better though, because it's like when I'm at the gym running or working out, I can crush them out. Or like when I'm driving, I can usually get a good chunk of stuff done. Love podcasts. I'm definitely a big Tim Ferriss fan. I do a lot of music industry ones as well. Like there's one called the 6-Figure Home Studio that's really good for helping us run the business. Podcasts. Like I'll buy courses when I can. I found this one thing called Blinkist, I think it was called. It's this app that they summarize books. So that's been a big one for me this year. I love it because it's like I'll take like an audiobook for a book would be 16 hours to 8 or 10 or whatever. It usually kind of nails them down to 5 minutes, or you can read it, which is nice. So I do that. I'm always when I'm not working, I'm constantly learning. Or watching Dragon Ball, one or the other. Yeah, like
watching Dragon Ball.
I'm a Dragon Ball Z fanatic, so like that's kind of just my off thing I do to like just chill out.
Did you watch One Punch Man?
No, I haven't. No, I watch the same show sometimes because I think it's because I don't have to watch it because I heard it so much that it's just familiar to me. So I can either be reading or like writing a song or playing guitar. So I always have to be practicing all the time. Yeah, I kind of bounce between things. Like I like that, like where it's like even when I'm learning, like I'll go from learning like a fitness thing to like how to better your business thing to music videos to that stuff to because I like music video stuff quite a bit too and music stuff. So I like to bounce all the time because I find it just makes for interesting ideas in my head.
So what's again, just for context, what's the most expensive music video, or like what's a big budget for a music video in Saskatchewan?
I would say around $5,000 right now is like the most common number that I've heard from a lot of people around here. Yeah, I would say 5.
Yeah, and then that's usually like getting together your best friends to play as extras and stuff like that, and people that you know, or is there money for like extras in a budget like that?
Yeah, there is. So like I actually recently just filmed a music video where it was was like this artist named Jessica Kelly. She actually hired 2 backup dancers because I pitched the idea to her. I was like, I really, really want to film a music video where there's dancers in it because I used to dance when I was younger. And they ended up hiring my old dance teacher. So it was just like really, really cool experience. And we ended up hiring 2 backup dancers. And it was just really cool just to like see the choreography and like the behind the scenes of it. Because I even like, we actually went to their lesson because like Jessica had no dancing background and she learned all the choreography in a month. So I think she took like 6 lessons and then I ended up lining up the locations and it was just a really cool experience.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's what's kind of happening to us right now. Like it's a weird thing that we're getting so much work lately that really lines up with all our skill sets. Because me and Andrew have just like a lot of different skill sets in different areas over the time that we've developed and our arts background.
Yeah.
And it's just like, that was a great video where it was just like, Andrea got the opportunity to use her dance skills because she doesn't necessarily dance anymore, but you did it enough where you have the communication skills to like deal with the instructor, not deal with, but
yeah, like there's a lot of like dancing terminology that has to be used like when you're trying to like explain like a move, like, I don't know.
and that's where we
They do a twirl, jump, point your toe up
Yeah,
there.
like a pirouette. So
And then a Bee
thing
Gees.
they put on her feet
girl.
too that you told me about.
yeah.
No, it's been neat because we also like, Andrea and I are very different. So it's nice because it's like, I don't know anything about dancing. So it's like when I'm walking into this, it's
Yeah, we
neat that
have
like you
very
have
opposing
that
skills.
covered. Like,
Yeah.
you know, so that, and it's also too like in the band world when we walk into a situation where we got to deal with band stuff, like that's, you know.
Sometimes it can be overwhelming with me because like I don't know how to talk to dudes half the time. So like
And
that's
there's a lingo
jurisdiction.
like you have to talk to with music guys that's different than certain
Oh
people.
my gosh, you look so cool. Oh, that guitar, that's so cool. Right, like that? Like you have to pump their tires because they're sensitive flowers or what?
A little bit, yeah, a little bit. It depends again on the genre. Like country guys will talk to him different than I would a hip hop guy, and like even the handshaking is different between hip hop and country, and yeah, pretty much. Then one with the country guys, it's just like hello,
Hey,
hi,
how strong are you?
Yeah.
I'm very strong.
I can tell you, you live lots of hay bales. Like,
Yeah.
Just kidding,
As you
country
can
guys. Don't get
tell.
at me.
Do you bleed green? Not talking about the Rough Riders.
Very good questions, you guys. I appreciate this.
Yeah.
Keeping us on our toes.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. Well, it's interesting because it's like just kind of unique and I don't know, not everybody can make things work. And like it seems like you're kind of finding these like recipes of like you're doing the whole thing, which allows you to, well, you said it blew up after you started really mixing up together your talents.
Like everything, yeah.
Yeah. You said you do like wedding photography and video, but when you look at Nolita, like, is that just sort of a side thing, or is that like is the main thing?
He's just asking for the show, not for your availability.
Are you? Can you just quit then? I'm just kidding.
Well, actually, this is something that we have been talking about, but we have been getting contacted to do like wedding photography and wedding videography, but Nolita Studios is such like an exclusive brand for music related anything. So we're actually thinking about branching into a different company, but we were not going to talk about the name yet because we're still kind of deciding that.
Yeah,
because like we really feel strongly that like when it comes to marketing, like it's always really good to just like really market your brand properly because like we do really focus on music. So if as soon as like we add like a wedding thing in there, it kind of just ruins the momentum of everything. So that's one of the things that we're learning.
We have concerns about just being too confusing. You know, like
Yeah.
we're seeing, like even talking to you guys now, like I can see that it's like we're gonna
Oh, you
really
guys
have
do
to be
weddings too?
focused. Yeah, you know, we have to really focus on just narrowly niching down what we're doing. Because even before like a year ago, we were doing like weddings, the wedding videos,
Like
the photos,
corporate
the
stuff, like just
music, the
kinda
websites, the,
everything.
you know. So it's like we can't be that much of an all-in-one shop. So it's like we're seeing now, like obviously the lion's share of our income is music-related stuff now. So we're just really seeing that. We're just gonna start focusing more on that, just so we can better serve the market for it.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Cool.
How is the wedding game this year, Matt?
Now that I launched a new website, it's like I just booked 2 weddings for this year and then one for next year. So that's
It's good news.
That was exciting.
like it's weird to book 2 more for 2019 right now, like in April, at the end of April. So
Wow, that's soon.
yeah, well, I mean the wedding, yeah, for
Holy
like
smokes.
November and October weddings, probably farmers, not sure.
Those are always fun.
Yeah. Yeah. Anything else you want to talk about? We're kind of at the last couple minutes.
This is sort of the sweet spot.
Yeah. Well, how about where
We'll do the self-promotion thing.
where can people find you guys?
Our hordes of streamers. Where are they going to
Hire
find you
us.
guys?
If you're an artist, we'll help you.
If you listen
Come
this
to
long,
www.nolitastudios.com. You can
go to
find us.
nolitastudios.com/ before the dust settles for 10% off. It really helps support the show. I'm just kidding. That's the show name, by the way.
That's our affiliate link, market for Matt.
Yeah.
If you buy this audiobook off his website, you'll get 20% off.
We're sponsored by Audible, Brilliant.com,
Squarespace.
Arby's.
Amazon, Walmart,
McDonald's.
Yeah.
Coca-Cola.
Sorry. Yeah. So where people can find you on?
Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat. We're on there too.
You're the one and only Nolita
We are the
Studios,
one and only Nolita Studios.
with an S at the end.
It took me 3 months to figure out our business name. I wanted it to be as exclusive as possible. And there was a .com for it.
Awesome. That's rare.
Yeah.
And it's all consistent. Nolita
It's all consistent.
Studios.
It's just Nolita Studios.
Perfect.
Yeah. Try to make it very simple for our customers to find us.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you
Thank
for
you for having
inviting
us.
us.